Hi guys.
Hello. Welcome back to the Consistency Code podcast. In today's episode, we are going to be discussing why you are not losing fat, why you feel like you are plateaued or stuck, and disclaimer, it has nothing to do with calories.
Nothing. There's a lot of portions to it, obviously. We'll see people in a deficit training 5 days a week, tracking everything, and the scale just has not moved. And I feel like that sounds familiar for a lot of us. That is called a plateau. You're doing everything you can, you're on plan, but nothing seems to be working, and you're just frustrated.
Exactly. So today we are going to be diving into those variables that nobody talks about when fat loss stalls, the stuff that isn't tracked, isn't measured, and the actual reasons that you have hit a wall because it's probably not what you think.
Exactly. Before we start, we'll do a little update from the both of us, since we're going to
Life
be talking
update.
about, yeah, since we're going to be talking about some things that do relate to us, why not also start with us, right?
Exactly.
Go ahead, Bella. Tell us what's been going on. Update us.
Life update from me. I am finally getting back into training. I have been training still at only around like 80% intensity, like 2 to 3 reps in reserve, just to try to keep cortisol as low as possible right now. Like I mentioned last week, currently in like a little health phase myself, just trying to still balance my hormones, but finally training is feeling really good again after my 3 week hiatus last month. Taking a while to get back into it and taking a while to get my fullness back, but slowly but surely we're making a comeback, really focusing on eating a lot right now to support my workouts, to refuel, because again, my 3 week hiatus, I was under eating significantly unintentionally, but still.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all in all, finally feeling like I am almost fully recovered from my stampede
Adventure.
adventure.
Adventure. Yeah. That's so good to hear. I love that. And guys, when she fills out, okay? We can see when the water is back into the muscles with mixed with the carbs. So, no, it looks good. Yeah, me, I'm finally close to the end of my mini cut, which thank God, I think I just have like gotten bored of it a little bit, which is totally normal to be stuck in a phase where you're just like, let's just get this stuff moving. But I feel good. Body's feeling good. We're training well. Obviously, like we got a tad bit weaker. I can't even lie to you, but we're trying to bring that back up. But yeah, everything feels and looks good. But
Oh,
the girls, oh,
Ruka is looking good. Let me tell you all, I saw the check-ins
guys,
and baby, the shape is shaping. Oh my God, this girl has no waist and like
I'm so done.
such
And
wide clavicles, so like the ratios are
the
absolutely
ratios are going. Guys, I only literally post check-ins so that Bella can see them. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I have no men in my DMs. I just have Bella in my DMs, actually. And I'm like, you know what? I'm so satisfied. Thank you so much. I feel validated.
yeah. Well, I mean, somebody's got to do it, right?
Somebody's gotta do it. Thank you. Somebody's gotta do it. Yes, yes.
But I know those glutes as well. Literally triple the size of mine, but we're not.
Guys, it's the what's it called? The Lindner effect, we like to call it.
Yeah, the
The,
Lindner
Li- the Lindner effect. Yeah,
or
yeah.
Lindner. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, but we're both obviously doing really good. And we will come to you guys with a live segment at a certain point. Live in person segment with the two of us. Soon. Keep your eye out. Keep your eye out.
I'm hoping. I'm hoping. Yeah.
Oh, soon.
Okay, better be
Oh yeah.
holding you to that over
Oh,
you.
don't worry. Hold me to it, baby. Hold me to it. I'll be there. Stop. Don't worry. We'll do like a workout together. We'll do a podcast. We'll go get food. That's not even a question. But we'll do everything else.
3 course dinner, actually.
I might be like walking, like stumbling out of the airport, like 50 pounds heavier, but that's okay. That's why I did a mini cut before coming to see you.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
now you'll be insulin sensitive, and that food will go straight to the glutes. So,
exactly. And we have a podcast on insulin sensitivity, by the way, so check that out. Exactly.
open.
Exactly. But yeah,
Well, let's
apart
dive
from that,
right into it. So, the first thing that we want to talk about is the biology and the science behind plateauing because it happens, it's normal, and essentially it's going to occur once the body adapts to a prolonged calorie deficit.
Hmm.
Basically, by reducing resting metabolic rate, increasing hunger hormones. This process is called adaptive thermogenesis. Um, and essentially, in layman's terms, that means that your metabolism during a prolonged dieting phase is going to slow down more than expected from body weight loss alone. So you may hit that plateau sooner than expected before you hit like a certain goal body weight or whatever. You're probably going to end up hitting a plateau. And the key is to know how to navigate that plateau. So that's what we're going to talk about in this episode. At the same time as that, like hormones that regulate your appetite, they're also going to increase. That's why you're going to start to become hungrier. Your body's also going to get a lot better at conserving your energy. This is a normal biological response once you've been in a prolonged dieting phase because your body's essentially like going into this fight or flight mode. Like it's trying to keep you alive, right? It's trying to conserve as much energy as possible. And that does backfire because we're like, no, we're trying to burn more body fat. But then your body's saying, actually, no, we're going to fight back and we're going to conserve energy and work against you. So it's not your willpower, it's just a biological response.
Exactly. And your body's not broken. Like you're not failing. Your body's like, doing exactly what it needs to do. And it does make us panic because we're often not taught about plateauing. Not everybody talks about it unless like they have a coach or they're kind of more educated in the area, I would say. Because in the past when I was plateauing, I didn't know what it was. When I was like, I'm doing everything I am, and then I would be like, oh, well, screw this. I'm just gonna go back to what I was doing prior, which was fuck all doing for me. But it's the same thing as like if it's not working now, what's even the point kind of thing. But your body's protecting you from starvation, like Bella said. So biologically it's doing what it's supposed to do because it's food scarce, right? So then it's like, hey, I don't know if I'm gonna be put on stage or if I'm gonna go the wild and I'm gonna have no food. So there's differences.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. The number of like ladies that I talk to, especially my DMs on Instagram, who say something along the lines of, I'm stuck. I'm at a plateau. I'm doing everything I can. Like, I feel like I'm doing everything right. I'm eating like sub 1500 calories. Like, I'm doing all of this cardio. I'm working out and like I've still been stuck and like I lost 10, 15 pounds. It was working for me before and now it's not working anymore. And I'm like, "Oh girl, I know exactly what is happening. It's
Yeah.
called metabolic adaptation." And a key distinction to recognize is that that is real and it's reversible. Like you got yourself into that hole, you can dig yourself back out. Metabolic damage it's not a real thing. And there's a difference between your metabolism slowing down temporarily in response to this calorie deficit dieting phase versus your metabolism being permanently broken. Like that is not a thing. When people
That's
are
not
like,
a
"Oh, it's
thing.
my metabolism. Like my metabolism is broken. You're so lucky you have such a good metabolism." Guys, it's not your metabolism, it's
Yeah.
not your hormones. It's just metabolic adaptation and it is reversible. So,
Exactly. And I have a question for you because since you mentioned your clients, like whether it be in prep or not, when you have you ever hit a plateau? And if you did you just push calories further like down and did that actually work for you? Or like what did you happen to do?
it's funny you ask that because I'm going to tell you all about an experience that I have every single time I go into a dieting phase, and also something that I see with my girls in prep as well, who I coach. And that is that it's always so funny. You hit this plateau where, you wake up like a week in a row, sometimes 2 weeks in a row, and you're like, oh my God, I'm doing all of this cardio. Like I feel like I'm eating like very little carbs and like why is the scale not dropping? And it's like the most frustrating thing ever. And when you do that weigh in and like the scale
Hmm.
doesn't drop, and then long behold, the best news ever comes in from your coach and he tells you to go have a refeed and
Yeah.
eat an extra 300 grams of carbs today, drop your cardio, just do steps for the day, but the key thing being that you're getting more food.
Yeah.
And then guess what? To your surprise, the next morning you wake up like 2 pounds lighter and you're like, what the hell? I just ate more food. Like,
Exactly.
why did that happen?
Hmm.
So, yeah, like that happens to me all the time. I remember one day last prep, I kept dropping and dropping and dropping, even after like multiple days of refeeds. And so on the final day of this like multi-day refeed, I went to Tim Hortons twice, one time for a muffin and one time
Yeah.
for a bagel because my carbs and fat, we just had to push my carbs and fats so high that
Mhm.
day to like physically stop my body from dropping more because
Dropping.
my coach Brett was like, I don't want you any leaner than this right now. Like we do not
Yeah.
need you like any leaner. Like, the stomach veins are out. I was like at my lowest weight like ever
Hmm.
since being like 10 years old. So we needed to stop this. But yeah, basically when you start to feed your body more, your metabolism, like what's the word? Like speeds back. I hate
Hmm.
I hate saying speeds because metabolism like doesn't really work on like
Speed
my
up.
freaking
Yeah.
speedometer. But your metabolism becomes more efficient once you start feeding it more
Hmm.
because your thyroid is like, thank God we have more food to work with again. So
Yeah.
yeah, and that's just because I went through like such an intense, prolonged dieting phase that then yeah, when we finally started feeding, it was like, yep, here we go.
Exactly. And people think that just because you are dropping, like that's a good thing. And in some instances, it is a good thing. But after a certain point, like speaking of like Bella's situation on prep and why that was not like what they wanted, is because after a certain point, like you're gonna look flat. And flat is where your muscle bellies are just not full. That water is not sticking to any carbs, even though there is some, it's just not staying with you. And she's just burning through everything. So her look wouldn't pop, and the less you weigh on stage, like less than you need to, you're going to look just tired and you're just going to look stringy, and they don't want that. So a lot of people will think like, okay, she was dropping, that's so good, like I would love that, but in some instances it's just not what you want at all.
No, exactly.
Hmm.
And especially because the more you deplete your glycogen, aka the
Hmm.
flatter you get, the more you have to fill out, right?
Exactly.
To look your best on stage. And like a small female can only consume so much food volume before
Yeah.
you get a little bit of stomach distension. And unlike the male bodybuilders who can stand there on stage with their gut out, like
And they eat like 1,000 carb, like easily, and they're like, yeah, I just carbed
yeah,
up on a
no,
thousand carb.
literally they're I swear like some of them have to eat like because they have to deplete so hard to make weight, right? A lot of the time because they have weight
Hmm.
caps. And then so then they have to fill out like on 1,500 grams of carbs, if
Like
not
that's
more.
disgusting. I would actually, I
They're
would not want to
eating
see a
like
carb after.
pancakes and maple syrup just to get carbs in. Like I
Pancakes
cannot
is,
imagine.
yeah.
But yeah, bikini girls, we have to keep it tight, right? We want our waistline nice and tight, don't want any
Yeah, because
retention, don't want any bloating. So, we're filling up on a lot of honey, like rice cakes, low volume carbs, fruit, but even still, like that was one of my issues last year is like because my body was just burning through literally incinerating all of this food, I had to eat a lot and like you can only eat so much in a given amount of
exactly,
time.
yeah.
So,
No, that's
yeah,
fair.
less
But
is
that's
not
such a
always
good,
more. Yeah, but
exactly.
essentially, like what we're trying to say here is as you lose weight, your body also requires fewer calories to function simply because, well, there's just less of you.
Hmm.
Like, think about it like this: a person who weighed 200 pounds once, who now weighs 20 pounds less, say 180 pounds, now burns roughly like 100 to 150 fewer calories per day just at
Hmm.
rest than at their starting weight. Like, a 250-pound male is going to burn way more calories just at rest than a 120-pound female. So that alone can like close off your calorie deficit without you even changing anything. So that's why you may be like, "Oh yeah, I dropped those 20 pounds like so easily and now I'm stuck." Well, yeah, because you're just burning fewer calories even at rest. And like everybody's instinct when you hit that wall is, "Okay, time to eat less. Time to crank up cardio." But that is almost always the wrong answer.
Hmm.
Almost always.
Exactly.
Almost always.
Exactly. Then here we have one that we recently talked about. It is neat. This is the variable that nobody talks about and nobody's tracking, really, because obviously it's not
So
like the
underrated. As we talked about
underrated.
walking,
Yeah.
so underrated.
If you guys missed it, what NEAT stands for is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So it's basically the calories that are burnt through all movement that's not through your structured exercise or cardio. So you're walking, you're just living, and you're taking the stairs somewhere, and you're even like pointing, you're fidgeting. So it's just things that are all your like incidental like movements throughout the day, and obviously a person with a high NEAT can burn 500 or more calories per day, doing like basically nothing, just our daily things that we do as humans, like just this, even like me pointing, right, over somebody who's, sedentary, just sitting there or has a desk job and like whatever. So regardless of their gym habits, they don't have to be getting up at 5 a.m. and doing fasted cardio and so on. But when we diet, our NEAT naturally drops as the body tries to conserve energy, right? So there's a lot that goes into it, but people disregard this so much because it is such like a very minuscule part of what we talk about all the time. And I've only like really heard like coaches talking about it, but if we had more people talking about like influencers, like fitness people, I think people would understand that, hey, this is actually a really big contribution to my weight loss because 5 to 800 extra calories is a lot in the long run.
It is a lot. Like, think about how
Mhm.
much cardio you have to do in order to burn 500, 800 more calories. Think about how
A
much food
lot.
that is. If, like, like a
Yeah.
500-calorie meal is, like, pretty dense. So, no, that's a lot. And it's kind of crazy to think about how much your need can decrease, but it's
Mhm.
true. Like, when you're deep in the depths of prep, if you're just deep in the depths of a calorie deficit fat loss phase, you start fidgeting less, just like subconsciously. And like
Mhm.
I don't even I don't even notice it myself. I don't know about you when you're in prep. I don't think I notice it, but it's true. Like, looking back on it, like, yeah, you like even lifting your hand up above your head like feels like so much work. Like, standing up from the couch, like, you are making fewer trips to the kitchen. Like, when you get so deep into prep that like
Yeah.
even walking to the kitchen to get your meal feels like
Is hell.
a lot. Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's something that we don't talk about, right? But those days in prep where we're just like, I'm knocked out, I'm just gonna stay seated all day. That's a big contributor to what is now we're doing less of. But obviously we don't think about it because at that time we're just tired. Like honestly, I don't think about it at all. I'm like guilty of it because I'm so like knocked out. I'm gonna be sitting down.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and it's not something we talk about because it sounds freaking crazy to say out loud. Yeah, I was too tired to go to the kitchen to get my food. Like, what are you
So
talking
my meat
about?
dropped. So
Yeah.
my meat dropped. Like, that is insane. Yeah,
But yeah,
that's
you like
fair.
when you have more energy to expend, yeah, you're just gonna be moving your body more. So yeah, NEAT plays a huge factor. And like we talked about last week, like just increasing your daily steps, even a little bit, can burn more fat than adding like 20 minutes of intense cardio. And
Exactly.
it's much lower cortisol, much lower impact on your recovery. So almost always like the go-to would be to just increase your steps before cranking up that cardio.
Yeah, that's why we say like always think about that because people of the same body weight or the same workout cardio structure can be such at a different what's it called total expenditures for the day because if one person's just has a higher knee, it's going to come out to way more compared to the other person, even though generally speaking we're looking at the same activity that they're doing workout and cardio wise, but one person can just be like, like, okay, I just did my cardio and my training, I'm going to sit on my desk and do work for the rest of the day while the other person is probably taking their dog out the backyard, coming back, making food, doing this. So it's yeah.
Yeah. A little tip that I will give y'all is if you go out for a dinner and it's not like the deep depths of winter, I would recommend parking a little bit farther away from the restaurant so that then you just get increased steps walking to the restaurant and then you get a little bit of a digestion walk after your dinner as well. And say even like only like a 10-minute walk on either side, like that's an extra like 2,000 steps for your day. And it really does make a difference in terms of your total calories burned for the day, as well as helping so much with gut motility. So you're not going to wake up the next morning feeling like super bloated. You're going to sleep better because you're less groggy after like eating a larger meal than normal. So yeah, there's a ton of benefits, but little tip, always try to park farther away because it's always hilarious when people are like, doing circles, laps around the block trying to find a parking spot like
Mm-hmm.
super close, like
Just
right
walk.
outside. Just
Just
walk.
walk. Just
Just
walk.
walk. And that goes for like anything every day. Like, park at the far side of the parking lot, like when you go to the grocery store. Like, those extra steps, even though it may not seem like much, they do add up. Even in the gym between sets, like just pace around a little bit. Like those steps do add up. Go to the farther bathroom. Like we all get so lazy with this kind of stuff, but
Mhm.
yeah, really does add up. Yeah, moving on to our next segment here. Let's dive into the hidden variables that everybody forgets about,
Mhm.
being stress, sleep, and water retention. All of
Yeah.
these three things contribute hugely to your results. And I feel like everybody forgets about them. Like
Sure.
everybody will complain they're not making progress, yet their sleep is shit. Their stress is like skyrocketed, and as a
Call them
result,
out.
water
Call them
retention
out.
at its highest.
Exactly. It's a really big thing. People disregard sleep so much, and it's so scary because when do you think like your body needs to recover? When do you think your body's building muscle? When you're going ham in the gym?
Everybody,
No.
yeah, people think it's in the gym. You're packing on those
Like
pounds of
you
muscle
got
and in the gym.
yeah, you got to go home and sleep. And people think it's a flex, like, oh, I just like had like 4 hours and have a long work day and I slept for three. Like, well, that's not a good thing. Just because your body is up should not mean it should be up. You know, just because it can does not mean it should. It's a
Exactly.
good thing I like to go by. Yeah,
Exactly. Like sleep is the most underrated, I'm gonna call it a PD. Like sleep is the
a
best
natural drug.
drug that you can ever utilize. If your sleep
Exactly.
is not in check, if you are not recovering well, then hell no, your body's not gonna want to lose
Forget
fat.
about it.
Your hunger is gonna skyrocket. Like nothing is gonna work in your favor, all because you're not giving your body the rest and recovery that it needs.
Exactly.
Sleep deprivation alone is going to raise your cortisol. Like I just said, elevate your ghrelin, which is your hunger. It's going to reduce leptin, which is the hunger hormone that makes you feel full. A triple hit of that both increases hunger and promotes fat storage. So if your plateau coincides with a period of poor sleep or high stress, that's not a coincidence.
Like, yeah, it's we gotta just look and be like, okay, what's the real issue here? And you can't look at me and tell me, I had an extra cookie today, but I also slept 3 hours. I don't think the cookie's doing the damage. I think it's the sleep. I promise you, if you ate that cookie and you slept, let's ask Bella herself. Bella, how long did you sleep yesterday?
5 hours.
Perfect. What did you eat before that 5 hours?
Too many cookies.
Perfect. What did you wake up with your weight just plummeting up?
My weight was a pound up this morning, but not from the cookies.
Yeah, thank you. So
Not from the cookies.
yeah, you have to do like a balance here, and like obviously we do want more sleep, yes, but at the same time it's like, hey, we can't look at like we always want to blame the quick things like the food or the cardio or this or I'm overtraining. First of all, hot take, I don't believe a lot of people are overtraining when they say they're overtraining. I think overtraining is you would know if you're overtraining, trust me, but I think you're just tired and fatigued, okay? So there's multiple things. There's multiple
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a difference. There's a difference for
Mhm.
sure. And most people, even though they think they're training to failure, are not actually training to true failure. It is a skill in and
Yeah.
of itself to learn how to actually train to true failure. But yeah, this is also why sleep is so important in prep. And yeah, when you get into a deep caloric deficit, sleep is going to take a hit because yeah, your body's more stressed out, your hunger is higher, you're not going to be sleeping as well because your body's just like under recovered. But this is also like the period of time when you need the most sleep, like between heavy training, a deep deficit, peak stress. Like that's when sleep is going to be the hardest because like I just said, low carbs, low calories going to directly disrupt your sleep quality, and that's a vicious cycle. But that is like
Hmm.
when it is of the utmost importance to prioritize your sleep. Because, okay, here's a fun fact: poor sleep reduces fat loss by up to 55%,
Mm, mm-mm. And we
and
don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear that.
increases muscle loss even at the same caloric intake. So if that doesn't alarm you,
If that doesn't scare you straight, I don't know what will.
what will?
We don't know it well. We don't know. And then we also have a big one. water retention. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not gonna put this one in the same level as sleep. When people genuinely do disregard sleep, I think people, on the other hand, instead of disregarding water retention, I think they use that as a cope majority of the time, though. You know what I mean? Like, if you're, let's say, I've heard a lot of like people having gut issues, okay? Like, they'll have just indigestion, or like whatever the case might be, and they'll think, my weight's up, I'm just holding water. I'm just holding water. So, water retention is a thing, and it can mask real fat loss for weeks, right? It can be still contributed by bad sleep, stress, high training. That's a really true thing, but not always is it water retention. So, I think that is a topic that's very misconstrued in the fitness space, because they'll say, my face is puffy, I'm holding water. So, we'll tell you guys what water retention genuinely is and what it can be caused by.
Yeah, I don't know if this might be too aggressive, but a lot of the time when I hear people say
I know what you're gonna say.
water,
No.
you have body fat on you. It's just body fat. It's not water retention.
Yeah,
It's actually very hard to visually see water retention
you're lean.
unless you're lean. You're not going to be able to tell the difference between water
And
retention.
I'm guilty of that. Like, I'm gonna be like, the only reason we do say that is because we went through this. So it's not like a jab. When I was, like, in the past, I would say, I'm just holding water weight, which is water retention. No, babe, I was just fat. Like, let's just say how it is, okay? Like, my body fat was just too high. And so you can't see, like, when you're lean, like, you can tell there's a film on top of your muscles where you just kind of look washed out. You're lean, but it's just blurry, let's say. Like, you just can't see the things clearly. That's what's holding water. And you don't have to be super, super tight skin lean to see it, but you do need to be, you know,
You
pretty lean.
need to be
Pretty
able
lean.
to tell that percentage.
Pretty
Yeah.
lean. Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
do you get lean enough and actually see the water retention, you'll know exactly that it's water retention because it's
And
like
it's how
abs are there, but like the lines are just like a little more blurred than normal.
they're washed.
Yeah,
Yeah. I know, I know.
yeah, it's not a good feeling. I will say that.
It's not.
Yeah.
Mm.
And on that note, something else that is important to note is hormonal water retention, especially
Mhm.
for women. This is a real thing for sure. You know, the stage of your cycle will significantly affect your water retention. So it is somewhat common to see a plateau that happens during our luteal phase and then will resolve itself after menstruation is done. But that's like, I wouldn't even consider that an actual like fat loss plateau. That's just like a natural occurrence that is going to happen based on your cycle. Is it annoying? Yes. Does it happen? Yes. So just be aware of it. Don't be alarmed
Yeah.
if that scale is not moving in the direction that you want it to during certain phases of your cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we have our big one that I stress this enough. I stress enough, okay? It's
Yeah.
stress, okay? Obviously, we know that when you're stressed, nothing good can come out of it, but do we truly know the actual, like, the severity of the issues that it can cause for somebody in a fat loss or even a building phase? I would say, like, both, right? And I'm always chronically stressed. I'm gonna be honest, like, with you. It's a problem. It's
Are. You're definitely not alone. I think more people
yeah, like,
are chronically stressed than not stressed at all. There's always
stress, anxiety, like, that's not good, right? But when I'm in a fat loss phase specifically, I have to be extra, extra careful, because if something stresses me out to the point that I'm like losing it, it will stunt my progress a lot. And I will say sometimes for me personally, a lot more than sleep will. Me personally, because if I sleep less, it's like 5 hours and I could get away with that. But stress, I think, for me plays a bigger role, and it is also for some people. Chronically elevated cortisol directly does promote fat retention, right? And this is, yes, people do still speak about this, but we're talking about it in a different sense, not in the cortisol fad, I would say, but especially visceral fat. And again, guilty as shit. Okay, guilty as shit, and I experienced this firsthand. When you are stressed, do not expect to make an inch of progress until you get that figured out expeditiously.
100%. And people always overlook stress management. I think people kind of shrug when you talk about like filling your cup, like meditating, doing things to really focus on lowering your stress, whatever that may look like meditation, breath work. Like it sounds silly, but like having a bath, like
Yeah.
even like reading a book instead of scrolling on your phone, like all of these things can really reduce stress and play a big
Hmm.
role in fat loss. And yeah, it's always super, super overlooked. But yeah, I can say off firsthand experience, like clients who I've worked with under extreme life stress who then further drop their calories only end up honestly moving in the wrong direction
Worse.
because that's just adding another stressor to an already super, super stressed out, overloaded system, right? And that's also another reason why if you give yourself a refeed, like we talked about earlier in this episode, like in a prolonged dieting phase, that often will cause the scale actually to drop, even though you're eating more, because by eating more, you're lowering cortisol, you're lowering your body's stress. So, stress plays a huge role, whether it's external stress, internal stress. Like I mentioned, I'm currently not doing any cardio to try to keep my internal stress as low as possible because, yeah, cardio will drive up stress. Eating minimal calories is going to drive up stress. And then that paired with like training stress, life stress, relationship stress, like poor sleep, all of these things are just going to add more and more pressure to your body. And eventually, like that bucket's going to overflow. And once the bucket overflows, you're hooped. And that's what causes
Oops. You poop.
your hooped. Yep. Yep. So those are obviously the three big ones to keep
Watch out for.
an eye on. Yeah, be mindful of. But even if you have all of those in check, hypothetically, let's say, your adherence still needs to be.
In check.
So, yeah, it's really important you have that honest conversation with yourself. Am I actually being adherent? Like 100% of the time? Because even what you may think is just a small bite, like a lick, like a small taste of something, those all add up. So I call them BLTs, bites, licks, and tastes. So
BLT. Yeah, you're sick for that.
I ask my clients all the time, yeah. Did you have any extra BLTs this week? Because the math is not mathing on your check-in right now.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Even if like, yeah, they'll say, oh, I was like 10 out of 10 with my meal plan and my macros this week. I'm like, okay, well, it looks and the data is telling me that that was not the case. So even if, yeah, you had all of your on-plan meals, did you have any like little bites or taste of anything? Oh yeah, I had, I finished my kids' leftovers. I had this little taste of my partner's ice cream. Okay, even though it's just a little bit, it adds up over time.
Hmm.
So it's really important to be honest with yourself about your adherence. And yeah, not being adherent is a very, very common factor in a lot of plateaus. It's not like a sudden lack or loss of discipline, more so just like over time you're getting a little more or a little less complacent with your habits. And that inaccuracy accumulates drastically over time.
Yeah. Speaking of inaccuracy, let's be honest here, guys. Realistically, if you don't weigh your food, measure your food, track your food, you cannot tell me that you are 100% accurately understanding your intake, your daily intake, right? I'm not asking you to carry around a scale everywhere you go. I think that's actually obnoxious. If anything, prep it at home, take it, whatever. But after a certain point, I would say like we can eyeball things pretty well. You know what I mean? Like I can understand 100 grams of rice, okay? But I would never dare actually have the audacity to do that in a prep where I can eyeball. So having
Any dieting phase.
exactly, yeah. Like in my off season, sorry, if I need to eyeball, I will. But in a phase where you need to track things accurately to report back to your coach so that they can make adjustments as needed, you need to be, thinking about is this 110% accurate that if I did weigh this, it would be what I said it was gonna be. Usually, 9 times out of 10, it's a no. And also, people 20 to 40% of the time are, underestimating their caloric intake by a lot.
Mm-hmm.
By a lot.
Just because you're choosing healthy options does not mean that
So-
it's low calorie.
sorry, I saw somebody on my phone that I pay for, which I should not have seen it, go, I'm making, this is how I intuitively eat. And whatever. And she was a pretty lean girl, okay? So I was like, okay, like intuitive eating, I love to see this stuff, whatever. She had the like, granola, freaking
Nut
like
butter.
just in there. Oh yeah, nut butters. And what took me out was I have an acai bowl every single day, and people were like, I in the comments, good for her, okay? Truth or not, good for her. But in the comments, people are like, I have that too, and like whatever. It's like my favorite sweet treat in a weight loss phase. And like what? I don't think we're understanding how much, like how dense an acai bowl is.
They are hefty in the carb department. Like that is a treat for me.
Go have a chocolate bar. You'll be better off. Trust me. Trust
Oh,
me.
a chocolate bar, yeah, a
A
fraction
fraction.
of an acai bowl. And this is also why I hate the term intuitively eating. Because if you intuitively eat, let's be so real, you're gonna eat everything you're craving. You're gonna be, walking around a food market and be like, oh yeah, that looks good. Like, I want that. You're gonna see a recipe on your Instagram feed and be like, oh yeah, that looks really good. I'm gonna make that because I'm craving that. You are
Yeah,
eating
no.
for your feelings. You are not eating for
For
your
your
health.
results.
And there's a difference. So,
And people think like, like, oh, like if you can't eat intuitively, then you have a problem and like tracking your food is a disorder. Honey, if I tried to intuitively eat, I would be 300 pounds. But I'm being honest.
exactly.
Because my body is hungry for everything but a goddamn rice bowl, okay? But I'm hungry for everything else. So
Hmm.
sometimes intuitively eating is not the way to go. We're not telling you have like, have balance, have that cookie, whatever, if you're in certain phases, like whatever. Even in a dieting phase, people can fit in a cookie into their macros. It's your macros that count. But at the same time, do not get mistaken with balance and intuitive eating and then eat like shit.
Exactly. And do I believe that having balance in your life when it comes to food is important? Absolutely. Hell yeah. Like there's a time and a place for balance, but it also can should not be used as an excuse to not be 100% with your tracking, especially if your goal is fat loss. You cannot expect
Exactly.
will to budge if you are not being 100% with tracking your food. And yes, that includes weighing everything because here's the thing, I like to compare it to tracking your finances. So, in your bank account, you have a certain amount of money that you are able to spend, right? The same thing goes for your macros. You have a certain amount of macros that you are able to, let's say, spend on food every single day. If you don't track your spending and your finances, how are you going to know how much you have available to spend every single day? Well, you're not. That's why we track our finances. That's why we have a bank account. So the same thing goes for your food. It's not unhealthy. It's not restrictive. It's not obsessive to be tracking your food. It is a tool to help with fat loss. And I'm not saying you need to do it for the rest of your life. This is exactly what I teach my clients inside my container is how to go about their lifestyle and live their everyday lives without always having to rely on a food scale and MyFitnessPal and tracking their food. But there is a time and a place for it, for sure.
Yes. Great point. Time and place. That's what everybody like needs to understand is time and place.
Exactly. Like if you have a family dinner out, do you need to bring your food scale? No. Time and place, right?
Please don't. Please don't.
If you're at home making yourself dinner and your goal is to lose 10 pounds in the next 2 months, girl, you better be weighing out that.
Please bring that food scale.
Yeah.
Time and place.
Exactly, exactly. So yeah, hopefully that
Beautiful.
gets our point across. Adherence is
Yeah.
a big thing. Make sure you're accurately tracking, actually weighing things out, not just using measuring cups. There's a big
Or
difference.
your eyes.
Or your eyes,
Your
or
eyes are beautiful, just
or
don't
your
use it.
palm. Please do not be using
The
your
palm rule,
a fist of protein.
a fist of protein, a fist of veg. What's a fist?
Yeah, sorry.
Anyways,
Like
what if my
I
fist,
have big hands, so does that mean that I get more than somebody who's also my
like,
size?
exactly like my fist, what if it weighs 200 grams and I'm putting 200 grams of pasta, God forbid?
Oh
Anyways,
my God.
but
Okay.
yeah, on
Yeah.
that case, our last one is what actually breaks a plateau. Okay, you can break it. You can, but there are certain things that you need to consider,
You're
and
not
it's not
stuck forever. I
always.
can promise you, your body's not broken. It's not your
No,
metabolism, not your age. We will get you out of a plateau. You just have to
we
understand how to
exactly.
get. So,
And it's not always push, push, push. The answer should not be,
opposite.
drive your body to the ground to make more progress because it does make sense realistically. If you do more, you'll get more. But in this case, it's not. If your body's at a stop, it needs to stop. right? So before you do anything, take a look at your NEAT. Before taking calories out or adding them, take a look at that and say, okay, have I slowed down? Have I, changed certain things? Can I put my steps up by 1,000, 2,000? What's gonna help first, okay? Because we want to start out lightly. There's that, and then we also have your sleep, your stress, and so on. So we'll go and tell you guys each step, but that's the first one. Your NEAT. Take a look at what more you can do in a very minuscule sense.
Neat is just like the lowest friction, highest return option.
Yeah.
And it's likely going to break your plateau without any dietary change, which is like perfect. Like if we can break that
Mhm.
plateau without making any changes to diet, beautiful. Then the next step, obviously, I would even argue like audit these two things while increasing your NEAT as well. Sleep and stress.
Mhm.
Are you sleeping adequately? Are you waking up feeling ready to crush the day? Are you waking up feeling recovered? Or are you constantly sore every single day? Are you waking up not feeling rested? Is your sleep hygiene poor? Is your stress through the roof, like in all aspects of your life? If the answer is yes, then let's address these. Like, take a step back. Like, rather than doing 30 minutes of cardio every day, I'd rather you spend that 30 minutes doing something to lower your stress. A stress sleep
Mhm.
deprived body in a deficit is not a recipe for fat loss. The two do not go hand in hand. So those are both really, really important factors to address. And then
Exactly.
the next thing to consider would be what we call a diet break. And no, that does not mean like going balls to the wall, free for all, diet break. Hell yeah, I'm gonna go eat whatever I want, baby. No,
Yeah.
what I mean by that. Basically, that just means bringing your calories back up to maintenance out of that deficit for a couple weeks just to temporarily restore your leptin, reduce your ghrelin, and reverse some of that metabolic adaptation that we've seen to be occurring. Honestly, a lot of the time that diet break in and of itself is going to break the plateau more than
Mhm.
anything. So yeah, that is
Exactly.
something to consider. Again, that's not an excuse just to go eat whatever you want. Even on the diet break, it's still important that you're being adherent and tracking everything because it's just as important to have that data as it is when you're in a deficit.
Yeah.
But just slightly increasing your calories for a short amount of time can really help your body obviously reduce stress and break that plateau.
Exactly. And then obviously what we talked about earlier, which is tightening up your tracking accuracy, not to be like over obsessive or, just honing down on everything to make your stress go up. That's not what we want, but just being honest with yourself and what's going on in the bigger picture. Weighing food instead of measuring cups, let's say, because I do know some people do prefer measuring cups and like measuring objects, but a scale will always give you the accurate measurements unless obviously like your scale is broken. But switching to that, measuring everything, including cooking oils. And if you're already not doing that, I feel like that could be a problem of its own. But just making sure that literally everything's accounted for, just so you can, say, okay, this is accurate. I can cross this off the list, and that's not a issue. So for those purposes, and then we also have increasing your protein. That is something that's way overlooked because obviously the first thing that we do increase when we're talking about a diet break, let's say, is kind of two things, which is carbs and protein. At some point, it's fats too, but usually the biggest focus for a lot is carbs, just because a carb up, like give yourself a break. If you're at like zero carbs, let's say like people will bring it up, which I hope you're not at zero carbs, unless like you're in a prep and some needs to be tightened up. But usually those are the two things. Protein will always preserve muscle during a deficit and will also be the one macro that will keep you the fullest. You know what I mean? Because when carbs are low, protein will be the one that does it. And it's the most satiating. That's the word, satiating.
It is.
And most people who are plateauing are under eating protein, which I do understand. We do have a problem of overeating protein, but I promise you it's very hard to also overeat protein because we don't want to sit there and just keep eating chicken and chicken and chicken, or like, but
During
if you're
the
drinking
meal,
shakes,
yeah, if you're feeling snacky and
yeah,
you go eat a chicken breast, you're gonna be full before you even finish the chicken breast.
100%,
If you snack
100%.
on literally anything else, you're gonna want more and more and more,
Yeah,
right? So
so there's those two.
yeah, increase your protein. It also has the highest thermic effect of any macronutrient, meaning
Mhm.
it's your body has to work harder in order to digest protein versus carbs or fats. So you're going to burn more calories actually digesting the protein than any other macronutrient. So yeah,
Exactly.
increase your protein. I also want to touch on something else that Ruth mentioned, tracking your cooking oils. If you are free willy nilly pouring that bottle of olive oil onto your potatoes every single
It's
day,
crazy.
that's probably the reason that you're plateaued. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, screw everything else we said in this episode. If you are not tracking your cooking oil, if you are not tracking the sauces you're putting on your foods, if you are not tracking drinks, assuming they are not 0 calorie, I can guarantee those are the reasons that
That's
you
the problem.
are not seeing the scale move. For example, like the reason that a lot of restaurant food is as high calorie as it is because of the sauces and the oils that they use.
Garlic aioli sauce? Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Okay.
yeah, we love her, but we hate her.
Love. She's dense as hell. Mhm.
So, yeah, another thing if you're going out to eat, asking for your food not to be cooked in oil or butter and asking for sauces on the side is going to save you thousands of calories, not even exaggerating. So, always keep that in mind.
A Caesar salad? Sorry, just wanted to throw out there. A Caesar salad?
Not healthy, not low calorie.
Never falling for that propaganda. Sorry, give me your house salad with dressing on the side.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Cactus Club lettuce wraps, think twice. Just because they're wrapped in lettuce does not mean that they're low calorie.
They will slobber that shit in anything. So,
Oh my God, the highest, that's actually the highest calorie item on the Cactus Club menu, which is in,
no way.
yes,
What the hell do they put in there?
it's the sauces.
Oh, so you know it's good then, hey.
Yeah, oh, they're good. They're really good, but they're not low
You
calorie.
know, you know where I kind of like want to go? Now that, which, sorry, interrupting. Olive Garden.
I do not care for Olive Garden. I'd rather go to like a really nice Italian restaurant for like good pasta.
No, 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 baby. Their breadsticks is what I'm talking about.
Oh, the breadsticks. Okay, just for the breadsticks. Yeah.
Their pasta, I'm so sorry. Hot take, I don't like it.
No, I don't like it. It's so
Their breadsticks dipped in their marinara sauce.
okay, we
This
can
is what I
pause
mean.
in a mini cut right now.
This is what I mean. I would literally explode. But anyways, yeah.
Okay, and the last thing here, just to wrap everything up, is do not rely on just a scale for progress.
Hmm.
The amount of people who I'm talking to on their fitness journey and only relying on the scale for data is like crazy. Use multiple progress metrics. What I mean by this is the scale is only one data point, right? And there's so many factors that affect the scale. You could have a bad sleep, your stress can be up, your sodium could be higher than normal. There's so many different factors that can affect the scale, and so relying on solely the scale is setting you up for failure. So honestly, track your weight like daily so that you have a weekly average weight without obsessing over the scale every day. Just weigh yourself for the data. Don't, weigh yourself every morning and let that weight determine your mood for the entire day, because that's not the point
Hmm.
of it. Know that there's gonna be discrepancies day to day, but just weigh yourself to have that average weight. Take measurements, measure your waist. Like, think about how your clothes are fitting. Are your shorts fitting looser than they were 2 or 3 weeks ago? That's an amazing metric to go off of. Do you,
Thank you. They are.
yes, I can tell that they are. Your waist is. Are you like going up a belt loop on your belt? Like, there's so many other things that you can rely on. And a big one is
Yeah.
also progress photos. I
Hmm.
know we hate taking those pictures. We don't like looking at them. They're like the worst mugshots to ever exist, but they are an amazing indicator of progress, because that way you can
They
compare
are.
visually how you looked at one point in time to now. You can see differentiations in body fat. You can see muscle growth, and you can see a lot more in progress pictures than the scale will ever tell you. Nobody is looking at you as you're walking down the street being like, she weighs 150 pounds. No, nobody cares. If you're getting on stage, the judges do not give a shit what you weigh. They could not care less about your weight. It's how you look. And how you look is always, always, always more important than the number on the scale. And I'd way rather you have visual goals for yourself rather than a scale based goal, because yeah, there's so many factors that affect the scale. Your body composition is also going to drastically affect the scale too. Like, if and when I hit 150 pounds again, that 150 pounds is going to be very different than when I weighed 150 pounds prior to bodybuilding. So
Thank you.
always important to keep that in mind too.
That
And
was a bar.
thank you so much. And then something, just one last resort to sum up this episode, only after addressing all of the above should you consider reducing your calories further. And even at that point, the reduction should be super modest, like 100 to 150 calories, nothing crazy dramatic. Because often reducing your food, slashing your calories, starving yourself, not only is that going to cause really, really dangerous eating habits, it's just going to stress your body out more. It's not going to propel you in the direction that you want. And that
Exactly.
is the most common mistake that I see people make.
Yeah, but yeah, like Bella said, when fat loss stalls, the answer is, almost never to drop everything, such as your food, up your cardio. That should be the last, and look at everything else. But please do let us know any stories that you have where you were like, oh my gosh, nothing's moving, and what you did, ethical or unethical. Honestly, we want to hear it all. This is a safe space. Thank you so much. But yeah, so we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. This one was a longer one actually, but we were low key cooking, so it had to be longer.
Hope you got some value out of this and let us know
Yeah.
if you have any questions and what you want us to discuss in the future. And we will chat to you all next week. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Bye, guys.
All day.